Let's continue, and we're going to modify the animation of the cube, but we're going to do it through the timeline in Cinema 4D. So let's open Window and Timeline. Here we can see we have the cube, we have position, scale, and rotation. Up here you see all the frames that we've animated through, and these little white dots are the keyframes. So here we can see on the cube, we can see all the keyframes belonging to the cube. Here's the position, we have a keyframe at frame 0 and frame 100. On scale, we have a keyframe between 50 and 100 here. We can take these keyframes and I can move the entire, all of them, like this. If we then press play, you can see it doesn't start the animation until it actually hits frame 30. Everything else is the same. Let's move that back. We can also take specific keyframes. I can take position X and say you're not supposed to move until frame 50. Now you'll see it will do everything and then we'll start moving at frame 50. So you can use this tool to modify all your animations in Cinema 4D. Let's move the X1 back. You can do the same with scale and rotation and so on. Next tool is the next tool is Fcurves, and you can click here and you'll get the Fcurves up. The curves are the animations but in a graphical form. So here is the first keyframe and this is the end keyframe of position X. Here you can see the actual position of it. So if I take this and let's move this a little bit up so you can see, and I move this down, you can see it changes on the timeline. That's because it doesn't move so far on X anymore. Let's move that back up to 1000. I can also take this. Here you can see it starts off a bit slow, speeds up, then slows off again on the top. But I can do the opposite. I can do like this. Here. And we can press play. And you'll see it speeds up in the end. Let's just move that back to a more normal animation. You have the same with scale. If this happens and you don't actually see it, just press space and space again and it will scale to the window. I'm sure there's another button for it, I just haven't found it. So here too I can reduce the scale or I can change it. By holding shift down you can break the tangents and you can do whatever you want with them. You can do the same with scale. You can go in and you can select keyframes and you can change them and how they work. There are many different curves that you can select too, so there's tons of ways to modify these. Same goes for rotation. So here we can see we start on 0 and then I typed in minus 360 degrees. So it ends up there. So if I wanted, I could just take this and I could drag it up. Could be a little bit tricky. I can drag it up to 360 degrees. So now the cube will spin the other way. Now I'm going to show how to make a looping animation in Cinema 4D. I'm going to use this cube by having it rotate 360 degrees every 30 frames. So I'm going to start off with creating a keyframe here at 0. I'm going to frame 30 and let's rotate it around 360 degrees and apply. And let's see if it spins. It does. The next stop is the Fcurves, where we'll set up a repeating animation. You can either go here into the timeline, but if we're going to work a lot with animations, it's sometimes easier to select animation in the layout and then find the Fcurves. So I'm finding the bank rotation, press H, and I can see the animation goes here. Now Cinema by default eases in and eases out all the animations, and I don't want that when I'm going to make this on a constant spin, so I'm going to create a linear here, which makes it just have a constant speed. Then with this selected, I can go into the rotation to open up this box here, and I can go into after and repeat, and I can select 2 here, then it will repeat twice. So now when I play it, it will animate perfectly.